Welcome to it then. Another episode of Off the Leash brought to you by the Racing Post in association with Premier Greyhound Racing. As ever, we're in top class company. Tony Bullen, open race correspondent for the Racing Post, joins us. Tony, it's lovely to see you. How you been?
Yeah, not too bad. It's got a lot colder out, but we've been a bit warmed by the winters we've been having, so I'll settle for that. I'll rather be sat at home cold than warm in the pocket.
Very successful on the punting front last week, but arguably our best week ever, I think. Both naps went in, winners left, right and centre. Reminder that you're here on the Racing Post YouTube channel. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Give us a comment if you're watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, and I'd love to hear from you if you're following us in and betting those winners. Romeo still 6-1, Wicky Ned 4-5, Romeo Command 4-7, Iams a Sydney 2-1, Droopy's Eunice 5-4, Bramble Linton, great shout from Tony in the Classic final 7-2, Ginger's Prince, my nap 15-8, Lionheart, Tony's nap at 8-13. Very successful, Tony. We're back into top gear now.
Yeah, and at the right time. I mean, next month is one of the most expensive times of the year, Christmas, so long may it continue, Dave.
Well, do you know what? The winners keep coming. The racing keeps coming as well. We've got 3 Category 1 finals coming up this weekend. We're going to look at 2 of them. We're going to look back on the Classic as well. And this time of year, the action really, really hots up. You know, I'm looking forward to the Olympic down at home. We've got the National Sprint, the All England Cup, as well as what we got going on at the moment. It really is never ending.
Yeah, and a few dogs are eyeing up some of the recognition. They want to sort of stamp their authority in the later part of the year because it's easy to forget what dogs achieved in February, March and April. So those looking to get some of those awards are attacking the big races.
Yeah, all year round, good action, all year round. Now, all week, this, I'm sure you're aware, if you've seen us on the Sweet Spot, it'll be mentioned on all of our videos this week on the Racing Post YouTube channel. It is Safer Gambling Week 2024. Here at the Racing Post, we are proud to support Safer Gambling Week. It's a good time to think about your gambling, talk about your gambling, equip yourself with the knowledge and tools to control and gamble more safely. 4 key messages we want you to consider this week and all year round as well, of course. Whenever you are gambling, it's good to set yourself limits. Gambling is not a way to make money. It's good to take a break. Friends and family are way more important than gambling. And if you'd like any more information on Safer Gambling Week, please visit safergamblinguk.org. Right, what have we got coming up this week then? It's a busy show once again. We're going to look back before we look forward. We're going to look back at last week's £20,000 Premier Greyhound Racing Classic final at Sunderland. Another trainer winning their first ever Cat 1 there. It's a good story. Then we're going to look forward. We've got the Eclipse final Monday night at Nottingham, the Gold Collar final at Crayford on Sunday night. We'll have a little bit of chat about the Grand National as well, so we won't go into too much detail. And best bets of the week. We're in good form. Both went in last week. So stay with us. We are first then. We're going to head to Sunderland to have a look back at the Classic, Tony. Now, you nailed this one. Bramble Linton at 7-2. He went from the red box, 26.89. Unanimous Leon, who was my selection, each way at 14-1, managed to finish second. Favourite Brindle Bully was back in third. Nice performance, this one, and a nice occasion and evening for Newcastle trainer Stephen Anderson, the Bramble man, if you like, his first ever Cat 1.
Yeah, which that is a surprise in itself, really, for how long Stephen Anderson's been in the game. But yeah, this Bramble Linton dog, he'd been knocking on the door, reached the Scurry final, and Sunderland's tailor-made track for him. I mean, he likes to run to the turn, he's got good pace. I hope that he paced up at the right time, hit the crown of the bend in front, created a little bit of jostling in behind. All of a sudden, he's found himself with a nice handy lead down the back straight, and he wasn't for catching. The runner-up's runner blinder in defeat, but he needed to win the early battle on the inside, achieved that objective, job done.
Yeah, pace the burn. Great Ben runner. I think he is off to Nottingham for the national sprint. I'm sure that's in their thoughts. He'll love that 305, won't he? Nice long run to the turn. You can run the bends hard at Nottingham as well. Going to be a big player.
Yeah, and he'd cope with a middle slot as well, Dave. He's not a dog that necessarily needs to be drawn bang on the rails. And to be true for you, if I was at Nottingham, I'd rather be drawn free, attacking the bend from a middle slot.
Absolutely. So that was Bramble Linton there. Well done to Stephen Anderson and his team. The Bramble Man lands a Category 1. Right, we're now going to look forward then to Monday night. There's £20,000 up for grabs. It is the Premier Greyhound Racing Eclipse, the biggest race of the year at the Collick Park venue. There were 3 semi-finals last week. First 2 went through. We managed to find all 3 winners, and the first was a nice big price winner for us as well. Romeo Steele had a great draw with Kennel Mate Droopy's Plunge, who'd remember been the fastest heat winner in the first round. He went from 3. He stepped inside, and Romeo still said, "Thank you very much." Paced up nicely from 4, did the business. Kennel Mate, Slick Sentinel, chased him home. So we're looking at 4 and 6 here. 30.07 the winning time, and a 1-2 for Patrick Janssens.
Yeah, I remember when this dog first arrived on the scene, he made a winning debut in the maiden derby at Toaster Day. He dipped under the 29-second barrier over 500 metres there, but he struggled with consistency thereafter, but all of a sudden, Patrick's getting a right tune out of him. And that early pace that he's showing is really serving him well. And I thought he took his chance really well here. I know you was keen on the dog, and the middle draw didn't prove any inconvenience. I thought the Kestrel dog, the Droopy's Plunge dog, was a little bit unlucky, but we did fear that he'd have to do things the hard way. He wasn't going to have things his own way. But all credit to Romeo Steele. Showed plenty of steel from the front.
Yeah, and Slick Sentinel plugged on well round the outside, going to have a good draw in the final. We knew that the seeded dogs were thin on the ground, and he's managed to go through. 30.07, the winning time there, very impressive. Now, not the fastest, though. The fastest is coming here. The superstar that is Wiki Ned, 29.65 out of trap 1. Antigua Kestrel finishing second. Run well again. He ran well in the first round, Antigua Kestrel. He caught the eye in trap 5 here, but all about the runner in red here, Tony, the Newcastle Raider, Jimmy Phoenix superstar for Neil McGregor, chasing a 4th Category 1 success. You said it on the show last week. This dog's adding a new dimension. You know, we know he's a winner. We know he's game, he's gutsy, he wants to get to the front. And he's getting stronger, isn't he? He stayed there.
Yeah, he's becoming a machine, this dog. I mean, he's a win machine anyway. His only blip, really, was his Derby campaign, where he went out in the first round. But he was in a tricky heat in that particular race, but he's just absolutely flying, this dog. I mean, Antigua Kestrel, this was what made this effort that much better was the fact that Antigua Kestrel turned a clean second, because Antigua Kestrel's as strong as an ox, but this Wiki Ned dog, Dave, he just don't want to be passed, and was still going strong to the pickup. He's got it all, this dog. Starts, stays, that's all you want in a dog.
Yeah, and crucially, which we'll touch on when we talk about the final, I think he's a dog that's not draw dependent. When we've seen him down the middle, he's not a dog that's looked to dive inside. He keeps quite straight to the turn. He's got good early all the way up to the first bend, what you'd call late early pace, which is what I think he's shown here to good effect to get up the inside. So that was very impressive, 29.65. Now, the old boy, even though he's not even 4 yet, Romeo Command was odds on in the third semi-final. In trap 4, Sam Barkian, one of the locals, went in the red jacket here for Colin Wilton, did qualify 29.95. You want to talk about professional and being a winner, Romeo Command ticks both of those boxes in a big way.
Yeah, what a CV this dog's got. 51 races, 33 firsts, 10 seconds, and he's got a lot of thirds on the card. He's a dog that's rarely out the first 3, Dave. Real competition dog. Copes with any trap draw, suited to most venues, and that all-round pace has seen him book his place in another final. I thought the local, Sam Bakian, has done connections, really proud. I mean, obviously plies his trade on home soil, but this has been a real step up in class, this Eclipse, but he ran well to qualify, but this is all about Romeo Command, in command early, never going to get pegged back thereafter.
Right then, the big final, 9-11 at Nottingham on Monday night. There's £20,000 up for grabs in the Premier Greyhound Racing Eclipse. It is the biggest race of the year at Nottingham, and a stellar cast take to the sand on Monday night. Let's have a look at them then. Up on the inside, Romeo Command, best drawn of the 5 railers here. Up on the inside, last year's Derby runner-up, last year's British Breeders' Stakes winner. Over course and distance at 3-1. Romeo still his kennel mate. In trap 2 at 5-1. Antigua Kestrel 10s. The local dog in 4. Sam Barkian 33s. Wiki Ned is our favourite. Drawn widest of the 5 raiders at evens. And Slick Sentinel, the wide seed, one of 3 in there for Patrick Janssens in trap 6. Dissect that for us then, Tony. I think the draw makes it a little bit more interesting than perhaps it could have been.
Yeah, if Wickenhead would have been drawn red, you'd have been all over him. I mean, he's still the dog to beat, but I just feel that Patrick's got 3 runners in this race, and if he could whisper in their ear, they could play team tactics. Because if Romeo still shows the pace that he's been showing to the bend, now Wickenhead's going to have an obstacle to clear. And I just think that this might leave the path clear for Romeo Command. If he can counter the early moves on the inside, you know he's a match for any second or third Romeo Command. And I think Romeo still might just give his kennel mate a compliment and hold up Wickenhead round the opening couple of bends. And if Romeo Command can take advantage on the inside, I think he might nick this Eclipse.
Well, 1 for Tony Bullen there, Romeo Command, who, Peter, not a lot of people realise this, but Romeo Command actually suffered a fractured hock as well last year. A dog has been off the card, back on the card, and looks as good as ever. It'd be 4 in January, and what an animal. Tony mentioned his strike rate, all in top class company. He is 3-1, and Tony's pick. I'm going to go with Wickenhead. I've had a good look at this race, and I think, being out in 5 is obviously not ideal, but I think he goes straight enough to the corner from the orange jacket. And Antigua Kestrel and Sandbar Kian are not going to be in the way early doors. They can't match him for early pace. The dog you mentioned, Romeo Still, that is the obstacle at the turn. He'll go from trap 2. But from what we've seen from Wickenhead, we saw it in the Steel City Cup final, that leading is not absolutely essential. And if they go around shoulder to shoulder, I still think Wickenhead might be able to get the job done. I think he'll go around in front and make all, but if he goes round in second, maybe on the shoulder of Romeo Still, I think he's a big runner as well. So he will do for me. I think 5 can get across. Slick Sentinel in trap 6, I think is a must for your full-cast and tri-cast here around the outside. He just plugs on. He's strong over the trip. And Patrick Jansen's his trainer, thinks the world of him. This dog has got to every final of every competition he's been in. And I think he'll be there or thereabouts. He might run well at a big price as well. But I'm going to go with Wickenhead to win yet another Category 1 title. Right. We've already mentioned it once on the show, of course, but we are very proud here at the Racing Post to support Safer Gambling Week 2024. Check out our socials. We'll be providing you with information and tools throughout the week, as well as this video. Well, we're now going to move on to Sunday night's action at Crayford, and it's the J&K Coach Tours Gold Collar Final. 540 metres speed and stamina required. 6 bends at Crayford. Been a brilliant competition, thrills and spills throughout. And we'll have a look at last week's semi-finals then. First 2 go through from each of them. We'll kick off with semi-final number 1. And Iams of Sydney in trap 2 did the business here. 33.55. His kennel mate Righty chased them home. We're looking at traps 2 and 3 here, Tony. He's classy and he's versatile, this one.
Yeah, what an exciting race this was. I mean, I watched it back 3 or 4 times. I still wasn't convinced that Iams of Sydney had got up, but the judge said that he did. But Righty made the early fractions. But this is what a dog this Iams of Sydney is. He's sort of added another dimension to his game late in his career. Like he's gutsy. He's come from off the pace in the first round, and he's set after Righty. He was no back number Righty. Fetching him Righty was an achievement. I wasn't sure he had, but the verdict suggested that he did, and John would have been pleased because the pair needed to look lively at the start, and sort of Righty's paid his kennel mate a compliment by setting the early fractions because Iams of Sydney got a nice toe into the race.
Yeah, I mean, he's top class over 4 bends, top class over 6 bends. You quite rightly said last week that it's probably his competition to lose now. But, there's some talented opposition, and we're going to have a look at them now. We're going to move to semi-final number 2. Slick Sabar up on the inside here, 33.74 from trap 1. Savannah Moo in the stripes, chasing that one home. And this is one that I got wrong, Tony, because I thought bang on the clock, should have been favourite. I think he went off favourite eventually. And I wasn't sure about Slick Sabar. Obviously, he had the draw. He proved me wrong here. This was very impressive.
Yeah, when he first turned up at Crayford, I was like, is he going to be a Crayford dog? But all credit to Rick Holloway, he sort of kept him there, and he's been running well over the 380 metres and the 540 metres, and he's clearly a pacey dog when he gets it right at the boxes. That's where he wins his races at Crayford. Obviously, he had the aid of the red vest in heat and semi-final. He's going to have to look a lot lively at the boxes in the final. But one thing about him, he's always had plenty of talent as Slick Sabar. He showed that early in his career in the Puppy Classic, Dave.
Yeah, very, very classy. As is our friend here. I think we're going to adopt Droopy's Eunice here onto Off the Leash. I mentioned last week, I think she's appeared in almost every single episode. We're up to episode 39, and she's in yet another big final. Now, you favoured her over Aladale Kazoo. They were the two to focus on here. They went in 2 and 3 respectively. Very good time on the ball, 33.28. And your words, if she could just find a little bit out the boxes, she'll be a right handful. That's exactly what she did here.
Yeah, she's still not driving the bends brilliantly for me at Crayford, but all she needed to do here, just show a little bit more urgency, and we know how fast she is when she's given a bit of racing room, Dave. She wasn't on the back foot here. I mean, it was a good effort to turn the tables on Aladale Kazoo, because Aladale Kazoo managed to bowl along in front, but she's a fast bitch, Droopy's Eunice, and you've got to take into consideration, she's gone a few races without winning, but look at the bitches that she's been running against, like Empress Stakes finalist, Oaks finalist. She showed what she's capable of here. She showed that in a trial. She put up 33.49 in a solo trial, and although I'd like to see her drive the bends a little bit better, it was a good professional performance.
Yeah, I was talking to the lads involved in the JR Racing Syndicate who are putting together some incredible team of dogs. They describe her as gutsy and game, and she's all of that. Aladale Kazoo's put it up to her there, and yeah, she gets the job done. She wants to get to the front. She's very versatile as well, Tony. You mentioned there, the big competitions over 4 bends, now big competition and into the final over 6 bends. Well, let's have a look at the final then. The 807 on Sunday night. Lap and a half of the track at Crayford is the J&K Coach Tours Gold Collar Final. And we got Righty up on the inside here, 7-2 for John Mullins. Kennel Mate Iams of Sydney, 9-4 in trap 2. Slick Sabo at 5, Droopy's Eunice at 4s, Aladale Kazoo at 7, Savannah Moo at 20. I looked at the prices here and I expected Iams of Sydney to be a little bit shorter than 9-4. He's definitely going to be my pick. I probably would have taken a shorter price about him as well. His Kennel Mate is the obstacle, Righty. Got pace, but if 2 gets to the row around the first couple of bends, I think this would be race over. What about yourself?
Yeah, I had it down as a competitive final. As I say, I would have gone about 2-1 myself, because I think the first 2 bends are going to be crucial. It's whoever's sort of turning in a handy position, they're going to sort themselves out. There's going to be a few hard luck stories around them first 2 turns, because something's going to have to give, Dave. But I just think that Iams of Sydney, if he can look after himself, slot on the inside going into the 3rd bend, you just see how well the dog's running and coming home at Crayford. And I think with a clear run to the 3rd bend, Iams of Sydney will finally enjoy his big moment in the spotlight.
Yeah, he won't be winning out of turn, will he? He's been knocking on the door in these big finals. So very much looking forward to that. We've got the Grand National final as well on Sunday night at Crayford. So it's a Cat 1 double header. Right, it is that time. Best bets of the week then, Tony. Take the floor.
Yes, Hove moved their opens to Saturdays. Obviously, they've got the Ballyregan Bob Memorial and the Olympic coming up. And there was a competition on Thursday, dual distance trophy. The heats were over the 500 metres and the finals over 515. Cracking race. I mean, we've got Blue Jig Baron, Newin Benny, Clona Cody. Now, there's only one raider in Hope's Oompa Loompa. Blue Jig Baron's in 2. Then you've got 4 wides, Mars News, Newin Benny, Droopy's Roster and Clona Cody. Now this Blue Jig Baron, Dave Lee's dog, been absolutely thriving on his racing at the seaside venue. I think he turns handy in this particular contest. The 5:15 metres is right up his street. He's proven over that distance. I think the wides will vie for early supremacy, but he'll be loitering with intent off the second bend Blue Jig Baron and add another win to his tally.
Right, well, I'm going to go to Hove as well. In fact, I'm going to go for the race after, which is over the 740. It's a trial stake for the George Curtis and Ballyregan Bob Memorial. So very demanding 6 bends. And a ground who really caught my eye last week in defeat, Coffee Time Guys, who showed up well in the produce, if you remember, down at Swindon, staying on strongly, and was touted by everyone. Wait till this dog steps up in trip. Well, here we are. Caught the iron behind Move Over Oggy last time out, and I think we'll stay on strongly and maybe get to an Obella late on, who's likely to lead, and I think might just make the market for us as well. So Coffee Time Guys for me in the 8:41 at Hove, Blue Jig Baron in the 8:24 at Hove. So quick fire double on Saturday night for us. Right, that has been it for another show. It was fast-paced this week, but loads and loads of action to get stuck into. Tony, as ever, we thank you for your time and expertise. Do remember, everyone, to gamble responsibly. Enjoy the greyhound racing, and we'll see you next week.